Welcome back to another Play Explain. Deciding to go with the four tables today. We have two 1Ks at the top here, and we have two 500s at the bottom. Pretty riggy pool. So, yeah. We got Jeremy over here. I know I abused him for a title in one of my earlier videos. I couldn't think of what to title it. So, I figured I'd try it out. We didn't really play a hand. Maybe if I play an actual real pot versus him. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I saw the comments on my recent video, which is not my last one, but the one before that. Oh god, my headset's so frustrating. Where people were appreciating the floor, they just wish I would talk about different things. At some point, I'm gonna write down like topics I can talk about during these videos. Maybe after I study some hands, I can talk about things that are not related to the current hand, but things that I think people can improve on poker. On a 10 here, just gonna let this one go. With the 10-8 suited. Don't think it's a pure 3, but I'm a little rusty. This one hand is a mix. On the button as an open. Okay, let me plug in my headset. I'm gonna try and hold the wire in there. The wire literally just falls out every time. Kind of frustrating. Alright, so far we have not much going on. We have king button. He went for the check all the way down line versus the recreational. I can talk to myself like this. I don't really get the point here of playing this way. I think when the recreational checks turn, you should just bet. But he probably just has a queen, so he doesn't care. Yeah, that's my guess. Fine the way he played it. I don't mind it. I think it's fine. Okay. Ugh, this wire. Going to open the 9-8 suit up here. On this board versus recreational, I mean, this hand probably doesn't mind checking back. I feel like there's a lot of hands you can get value from for a small sizing. Having one over and no backdoor flush draw, just versus a fish, I feel like over c-betting this type of hand is going to make money. But I don't mind checking back. We'll play it, because this hand in theory would be like the greatest check back. I'm going to go for the call here. And obviously we're just going to call down top pair here. I'm just going to fold here, even if he's just too short. Generally this line is like super underbluffed. Yeah, this type of line, B75 versus a fish, is just... Oh my god! How do you get ace-8? For some reason I thought like, I'm out of it. Never mind, we made money. I'd say, I was gonna say that's underbluff. I'd say above half pot is usually underbluff from a fish. But I guess not all fish play the exact same. I think it's good to look at the population tendencies. Because there's a lot of stuff that you can gain a lot of EV from. You're gonna gain more EV than just guessing. So for example, if you're playing versus recreation, you're like, oh, this guy is actually, you find out, oh, he's a calling station, or oh, this guy. For the most part, though, these tendencies, I think, this is not a leading board. We're not gonna play too many. We're not gonna fold. We rolled high here, though. I don't mind going with the raise. The issue is I don't think he has too many folds on this type of board. He's probably doing some leveling bullshit. I don't know. I don't mind just calling technically. It's not a leading board, but our hand's also not too good. We have a spade. We're unblocking shit. We don't have a club, so I'm gonna check back. I kind of wish I'd raised. I just rolled high, and I was thinking of in some make-believe world. But the issue is I think he has a bit of a tell when he leads. I think he has to have something that calls a raise. And now we just lose. He just has like pocket like he probably just has like Jack 6 or some bullshit. So I'm not gonna bluff this river. Ace 7. So you see, it's really easy to look like a pro in a leading line where you just have the nuts. Yeah. You could argue I misplayed into it. I mean, the run out went pretty favorable for him though, so he's gonna look like a pro in that spot. The issue isn't like in the spots now when he checks, he's gonna have to overfold. It's a board where we're killing him on. He's building the pot on a board where he doesn't have a range advantage. In general, stuff like this, yeah. But generally, like leading is not gonna cost you that much EV. It's just not really a worth it strategy. So like if you lead and you have a set, you like sometimes you could argue, oh look, I made money. I played this like a pro. You know what I'm saying? And to be fair, I do think there's EV gain to playing tricky lines. The issue is it's just not an overall profitable strategy, and you can find yourself getting exploited quickly. Doesn't necessarily mean he never has a strong hand when he checks, because he might be like, oh, I'll check my strong hand sometimes. The issue is I think playing a leaning range at all is going to make him naturally just weaker, if that makes sense. So let's say I'll lead with a7 half the time. Well, now I can b75 a little more aggressively with my bluffs because he's only going to have a7 half the time. Hello? Alright, I'm back. I had to end the video. I think I'm gonna keep it rolling though. Okay. Someone came in the room. I guess I'll call. Here with the jacks. When he goes with the squeeze, you can do either. We'll go with the call. On a 77, I'm gonna 3-bet this in. Gonna be calling here, especially with the diamond on an 8. I don't think we ever need to raise a hand like this. I think this board you want to size up on with the bottom pair. You can do either here. I'm sure this hand doesn't mind calling this. It's close. I think we gotta have to call this one. Now I think having the jack of diamonds is bad. This is probably in our river folding range. He goes with the snap all in though. Ugh. I don't know. I just feel like calling this one. Nice. I don't know. I just feel like we have to call enough here. Just he gave us some timing tells and stuff. I don't know. Sometimes my intuition, I just felt like calling there. We're getting a great price. We have to call that sometimes. It might not be a call. I just think we have to call it sometimes, right? Like, I mean, what are we really defending? We have 10s there. I just think he has 16 combos of AK, and the way he played it, it just felt like AK. I don't know. I'm bullshitting myself in terms of maybe I'm reading into a tell that's wrong. But for some reason, I think people just in general, this is my read. I could be wrong. I should probably be saying this on video. But the reason I call this, I think people in general in squeeze spots tend to size up a little bit bigger when they have hands like Ace King. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in La La Land. But the way he played it, it just felt like Ace King to me. It felt like Ace King enough. And I think this player is the type of player. It's a really profitable spot to barrel through. I'd say generally people are gonna make a lot of money by barreling hands like this. On a 7, we'll check it back. I don't really know if this guy's a recreational or not, but we'll go with the raise here. I'm down to 3 tables. That's probably a bad reason to call here. I was thinking Ace Jack. The diamond is good on the river. I don't know what I was yapping about. The diamond is good because he gives up a lot of his Ace Jack of diamonds types hands. I kind of got caught speaking. But yeah, in general, the diamond's going to be good here. Here you can size up the half pot. That's what we're going to do. I don't know. We probably could just check this one twice. With the queen of clubs here, we are deeper in this hand. You can do a B125 here, but we're not having the ace. Oof. The queen of clubs is good. Probably can do both. I don't mind going to B125, to be honest. Yeah, I don't mind it. Oh, so we bingoed this shit. Holy. We're just playing, like, so good. Yeah, I kind of had a feeling he was going to jam when he tanked. We'll go with the fold here. He has ace of hubs. He has a hand like 10-9. Yeah, it's just a not very profitable spot to jam, I think. It's probably okay, but I don't know. I don't know how much I like it. I think here you just need a hand with a club. I'm going to be merging a lot of my 10x of clubs hands, and it's just a disaster. It's just an absolute... Blocking pocket tens is pretty irrelevant. It's just a disaster. Like, you have so many bluffs in this spot, like, I'm never folding ace-king. Ever. I don't want B125 on the turn. I just think it's a disaster. He might think the line's overfolded. Yeah. It's... I don't know, maybe it's... I'm not gonna make an opinion. I've made an opinion recently. I mean, maybe it's okay. I'd say in general, I'd like to assume it's not. It's kind of unfortunate, though. Wish I found the... if I found the overbet sizing, I'd probably just lose more. I prefer it more as a call from him. I think it's probably an okay call down. Anyway, let me try and get another table going for you guys. Something. 500 here. Alright, looks like we're gonna have to settle for 3 for a sec. Queen deuce is not gonna be an open. Okay, I'll settle for 3. We have the replay over here. I don't know, I don't really, I mean, it's fine. I don't know, I can't think about it. I prefer just jamming. I know generally it's gonna be hands like 10-9 of clubs that want to jam though. Just not enough equity when called, I think. There's just like the EV you gain from shoving a hand like this, I just don't think is good. I don't mind jamming a king and stuff because you're blocking my calling range, so you can like I'm more polarized to have draws. Because 10x is like what is it blocking? It's blocking king 10 of hearts and it's blocking pocket tens. On a 91, I can probably call it or 3-bet it. Do either. I'm just gonna go with the call here again. I don't know. I don't like it. I just think it's bad. But granted, if everyone's overfolding and I'm getting even nitty with a hand like ace, when he checks here, I'm just gonna go for the overbet. I don't know. This hand is not a good combo to do. But we don't have the ace. It does look bluffy. When he tanks, I think he has a pair. And when he has a pair, I think he calls. That's my read on the situation. Given how fast he snapped the jack 10 earlier when I was bluffing, but I probably don't like this. In general, yeah, I'm regret my decision. He just has a hand like this, and I'm getting called. And he just got scared of the queen. I don't think it's too good of a bluff there by me, to be honest. All right, looks like there's another 500 running that I can. Everything gets my seat gets taken every time I load up a table. That is annoying. All right, we'll play this one 3-handed, and when this guy dies, I don't want to play heads up, but whatever. We'll keep getting on other tables, I guess. Yeah, kind of frustrated about that bluff. Like that was just a bad find. I don't mind raising the turn. That I would say that's probably not a good line by me in general. Yeah, I don't know. I do like the idea to overbet my hand on the turn here. The advantage with having ace of hearts, queen of clubs is you actually get called by worse sometimes, like hands like ace 9 of clubs. So on the river it can go check check. Because yeah. I don't know. We're gonna go to like 8 here and call off versus a jam probably. I don't want to go like huge because then this guy might wake up with a real hand, right? So we'd rather size down. Limp pot goes check check. I'm just gonna assume he has nothing and take it down. Right. I know 10-9 of clubs makes so much sense to jam here because the advantage of jamming a hand like 10-9 of clubs is you fold out the better flushes, so you're basically running your equity. Because like for example, your hand doesn't have a clean river where you make the nuts, but it has a lot of raw equity, and those are generally the better and decent blocker properties, and those are going to be the best types of hands to shove. For example, you're going to fold out a hand like ace jack of clubs, so that's a great shove for you because. And then when you're called, you're going to have the clean flush outs. The king is a club, so you're never going to call dominated anymore. But the issue here is like, what if I'm just barreling my equity with ace 10 of clubs? And then I'm just calling you. It's just not good. Any value that overbets this turn because I'm going to be mergy so hard has to call off versus the shove. So I could see technically you would find like. By the way, I'm kind of spitballing the spot. It's a 200 big blind spot that I'm not studied in at all. So, because I don't study enough deep stack poker, I get concepts, but I don't review lines like it constantly. So I'm kind of spitballing. We're definitely going to review this one at the end of the video. I don't mind betting this end. Gonna fold just to block though. I'll block here. I don't like that. Like you can go super polar, like, probably like 200%, and then you can block. I'd say mainly though you're gonna be polarized to block. You don't have enough of hands in your range that are actually gonna rep boats, right? Just playing a boat side or two pair even. The issue is you go too big, you polarize yourself to against the 6. So I don't really know. I prefer just over blocking there and simplifying it. I mean, most of the hands you would want him to call with are gonna be raising you versus a block, so you kind of simplify that. You're gonna have so much one pair hands and so many hands that can obviously bluff for 1/3. Really regretting this king 10 of clubs bluff. I would say that's the main thing. I feel like I gave off a timing tell on that hand. Maybe that's why my opponent found the jam. In theory, I think I prefer overbet. I just didn't in that hand because versus a specific opponent, he makes a lot of like really weird reads. That's kind of his playstyle. And he might be watching this video. If so, hi. But yeah, probably shouldn't review it too much then. I just had a feeling in that spot I was gonna get called if I went to a bigger size. When he went to 1 second, I felt it was either he was gonna fold or shove. I don't think he would go to 1 second and call. Also, it's kind of a tell when someone goes to 1 second. Usually, generally, when they go to the last second, if they have value, they don't want to risk folding. Like if they have too good of a hand, they don't want to risk folding. So I'd say anytime someone time makes it literally 1 second and goes all in, I mean, people can be leveling you, and if you think like they're the type of person to level, I'm just gonna call on this number. On a 61 here, we'll defend it. King 7 almost like never does. I think King 8 and King 6. You prefer King 6 to King 7. Due to your ability to like cooler an ace on a straight run out, and not having an ace, making your opponent more likely to have one. Definitely just gonna check this one back. He has a lot of strong hands. It feels like this always happens, doesn't it? I don't mean in a bad beat. I mean like you guys probably relate to this. Just like sometimes that you have a king and the ace just be coming every time you check. I'm sure it's just like it's obviously like just an in my head thing, but easy toss here. Don't mind jam, but have better hands probably. Probably block the folding range with my hand. This spot I feel like it's overstationed, but I feel like this hand just has to go with it. There's just no way. It's so easy to check your value twice here. I like keeping the range wide and slow playing some of your nuttier flushes. You're very rarely getting 2 streets. If they don't have a club. Here's overbet or check. I guess I don't mind checking this one. Probably check again. He's gonna check. The thing about the ace coming on the turn is he's gonna trap a lot of his really, really strong hands because he's probably thinks I'm gonna overly c-bet the ace. Probably just take my showdown in this hand, honestly. If he block bets, I will min raise him. Enough that like a hand like an ace would want to value raise. How long have I been recording for? 13. I guess I'll take my showdown. Okay. Probably could have bluffed by the river. I don't mind it. It is a weird hand. King Queen. We losing to King X is probably not a good idea. I'd say King 7 probably doesn't mind betting. Yeah, King 7 is probably an okay hand to bet. Stick with 3 tables for now. All these games are breaking. I'll play 3 hand versus anyone. I don't feel like playing heads up, so. Queen Deuce is just gonna be a fold here. I just tag anyone who does not have 100 big blinds of fish. That is just my usual go-to. I'm thinking of removing the tags for everyone else. If someone's tagged a bad reg or not, they probably improved a bunch. I haven't really tagged someone for it. Also, I just tag people bad reg when they just play a line really dumb. Like, I've had this guy tag bad reg, now I'm tagged good reg. I think I had this person tag bad reg. I just have everyone tag bad reg at first, usually. Um, this hand is one of the more common suited 3-bets, 3-bet bluffs. I think it's probably a fine check though, because it actually has enough equity that it doesn't mind. You could probably over-raise the fish when they limp, and I don't mind that strategy. Gonna bet a big line, because why not? My hand can improve at its backdoor flush draw. So on a 5 at like 7-4 coolers me. I guess it's just a non-existent type hand, right? We have a lot of equity with this one. He's gonna be range betting. The issue is he's gonna like call off a jam, so I'll just call here and evaluate. I don't think we have too much bluff fold equity versus calling range. Yeah, the feeling. Hopefully we can get a couple more good spots in this video. I'm trying to record and edit it before NFL. I was gonna upload part 2 of my last video, but I saw a lot of you guys preferring. I realized not much happened, and a lot of you guys preferred the 4 tabling. We'll see. Maybe this video will be coming out a day later, and I will actually have posted the last video because I guess it was okay. There was a lot of takeaways in that video, but I'm trying to make my videos a little bit better. So this guy just seems to own me every time. I'd say the key versus a player like this, it's like sometimes they're not gonna have any bluffs in a spot, sometimes it's gonna have a bunch. Is just do what's theoretically best, because this guy's not. He's a solid player. He's really tough to play against, but he's not too theoretically correct. So if you can learn it, he would lose a lot versus a computer, is what I'm trying to say. And that doesn't. That's also not necessarily a bad thing, because people very rarely can play like a computer, and if you put them in weird spots a lot of the time where you do really unintuitive things, then it's even harder for them to play you like that, and they become probably more predictable than you are. So the key with spots like that when you play versus a player like that is just do what you think is correct mainly, and then maybe make a little bit of exploits every now and then. But if you, as long as you do what's correct, eventually they're just gonna level themselves way more than you and make way worse plays. I mean, I don't see how I fold. I'm just gonna call. If he reshoves, I'll probably fold. I don't see why he would ever reshove here. But I mean, if he's shoving and he's like, he's just has a draw a lot of the time, right? Like I have to charge it. Okay, well, that takes all the worries away from me playing this hand. Do I check and let him go for a bluff? I feel like he has a draw here every time. And he might try and win the pot, yeah. Like, I'm a genius. You guys are watching the best poker player of all time. I'm just letting you know. Okay, that wasn't that complicated. I gotta calm down. But it's just so face up he has a flush draw in that hand. So on the river, like obviously we're gonna check, and a lot of people have this thing in these side pots. I think like good regs, they actually attack them because people overfold them because it's like, oh, why would you bluff in a side pot? But there's 40 big blinds in the middle, and he doesn't have the ace of clubs, so he's probably like, oh, on this turn I just want to let it go, man. I mean, like, how are we ever good? I'm gonna call now because I'm a fish. Oh, versus a half pot, it's so tempting. Oh, I'm a fish. Wait! Oh my god. I bluffed the wrong player. I had the right read, so here's my explanation why I shove. It's nothing to do with blockers or anything. Versus recreationals, he's doing the leading line. When they size down on a river, usually to it's not slightly not true apparently. I think for flush draw boards, but when they size below 0.5% of the pot, half or less, on the river, you can raise all in very profitably. Obviously, this guy's a station, but it's generally the idea is their hands are not that strong, and they usually don't call off, but not that strong of a hand. right? Obviously, this guy's just a huge station and didn't believe my line or whatever. But the story stands true of most of the time they're gonna have a hand like this. That 90% of fish are gonna fold that hand, even though they're fish. I mean, if this guy's playing in your type of game, he's not gonna have money for very long, right? Like that's an easy way to go about it. Also, you might have seen my freaking YouTube videos, but in general, yeah. So that's the thought process behind jamming. When you called, I was like, oh yeah, that stinks. But I'm glad I shoved because I would have lost the hand. It was all the other fold or shove for me. But yeah, generally on the river, it's also it matters less about how strong their actual hand is. It also matters how strong they perceive their hand to be, because it's basically they're telling you how strong they think their hand is by their bet size. So let's say he could have sixes here, but he's going half pot. Maybe he thinks sixes isn't that good of a hand here anymore, and he might fold that to a shove. Um, that's just the easy way. I would say it's more true versus 1/3 though than half. Be a little careful versus the half pot, but if it's ever a block bet, just rip over the top. That's my advice. You guys will see me do it basically in every single video. There's some spots where it's not true, but those spots are usually pretty easy to figure out. It's usually spots where like I don't know, they could be a little more trappy. Like I don't know, not in a spot like that though. All right, here when we 3-bet, we're gonna be calling pure. So we call this in. Opponent's supposed to check very often on this board, and I'm trying to think what we do when he checks. It's either like he just never has any of these sets, and we have them very often, all three of them. I don't mind shoving this hand, to be honest. I think I should size down. I'm gonna call off first to shove, even though I don't think it's bluffed too often, just because I think we have enough equity, or it's close to it. Yeah. I don't know. I think I misplayed. I will say I think I misplayed when he checked into me. I think I'm supposed to size to 20. I just autopilot better to 30. Yeah. And in general here, I'm trying to think. Okay, you can play a good amount of shoving range when he bets into you, and it's gonna be mainly these merge your hands, like I said earlier, where you don't have like a clean out. So like nines, we have some outs when we're beat, versus these overpairs that should never really fold when they see bet. And then so we have like what 7 out or 6 outs, and then slightly more because we have the diamond, which is important. And then B, it's like versus these flush draws that we're ahead of them. So you kind of want these hands that can't really realize their equity to like the nuts on runouts, but they have a lot of raw equity. Those are the hands that are good to fast play. Yeah. So for example, earlier when I was talking about jamming 10-9 hearts. It looks like the big fish is losing some of his money. Well, he had a strong hand. I will say, oh my god, he's ace king again. We are obviously rooting for the fish here. Bad start. What was I going to say? Oh, if you're curious about the overlay I use, it's in the description below. It's free for micro stakes, and the solver I use is also in the description. It's a little unintuitive. You have to make an account after clicking that link, and you can use a lot of the free features. Pre-flop, for example, I recommend everyone just goes over that if you play micro stakes. You can study pre-flop for free. At least I'm pretty sure you can. I don't know for sure. And then once you actually ever decide to hit the upgrade button and make a purchase, you'll save 10% automatically just by signing up after you click that link. So even if you plan on never doing it, you never know one day, I recommend just going to make an account because if you ever want to buy it one day, you can save 10%. It is pretty expensive, and I think you can actually do a lot of things in poker without a solver. But I do think the moment you start really studying with solvers, is the moment you and you really apply yourself. It's worth it to the people who really apply themselves. That's the best way to say it. Like for me in my life, I've definitely got a profitable return on investment from investing all the money I spent into studying. For sure I have. But obviously, in order to get that return on investment, you're gonna have to work. and you technically people say, oh, you don't need to use it, and that's not true. That is true. You like literally a lot of the money to be made in lower stakes is from exploiting. But the sooner you're building these fundamentals, the better you are for actually just smoothly understanding why the exploits work, everything. Otherwise, I feel like the people who never actually understand theory, they always end up in this like spot where they just have to rely too much on their exploits. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think you need to still have a good base, and you don't even need to use it, but you just need to know like. It's also honestly, it's important to know how other people are playing. Like, even if you're like, people overfold this body, people over this. On a 9, I'm just gonna fold this. Especially for pre-flop. Like, I just think pre-flop, if you're constantly exploiting pre-flop, that has to be exhausting for playing this many tables. You know what I'm saying? So, I do recommend just at least going to learn the pre-flop fundamentals and sticking to a strategy like that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna be wrapping up this video soon. Feels like I got a good amount of good hands, which I'm pretty happy about for a smaller amount of tables. Normally, sometimes I'll record a video like this and nothing will happen. Yeah. Can't believe he called a queen 9 there. When he called, I was like, ugh, embarrassed myself. Took a hand that's not a bluff. What is this one? Super deep here. I'm just not going to get after it. It's mainly an imposition 4-bet. Due to like the ship playability, it's just going to play better in position. And due to like how polar you want to be in position generally, because your opponents are more polar. Not necessarily out of small blind, but generally you're going to have a lot of hands that are pretty profitable calls. Whereas out of position, you're not going to have so many hands that are important as calls. For example, you can start 3-betting hands like Jack 10 suited, there 10 9 suited, because calling them isn't actually that good. So you don't lose that much EV from like getting shoved on. Whereas here, like Jack 10 suited, 10 9 suited play great in position, where you usually get to see 5 cards. That's a good way to explain playing in position versus out of position. There's a bunch of things that go into it, but I think also the hands that want to see 5 cards are almost always better in position. I mean, they are better like hands in position. The hands that flop really easily are going to be naturally hands that play better. Obviously, everything plays better in position, but I'm saying the hands that the EV changes the most are hands like 10 9 suited, Jack 10 suited, these low pocket pairs. So you really get to see 5 cards a lot of the time. For example, you range bet a board, they call, then it's the turn, and you check back. That's an easy way. You saw 5 cards. So hands like that generally go up in value. Obviously, when your opponent's barreling into you and you're calling a 3-bet, you don't always get to see 5 cards, but in general, you're going to get to see it more often than if you're out of position, obviously. Because you might see 5 cards, but you're not always going to get the value. Let's say you bingo the river, your opponent can check back if you had a flush draw. He's scared of the flush now. But if you're in position and the flush comes in, he's going to have to bluff catch. And you're actually going to be able to bluff the spot more profitably. You're going to be able to float wider, so you're going to actually have bluffs in these spots. Because part of the EV of being in position is you get to always just bluff certain hands. So like you can float wider. Looks like these tables are breaking. King 8's the one you don't 3-bet. This is like a pretty low frequency one. There's the emote. This guy's a cool dude. Shout out to you. On a 74 for the video. Let's bump him. Gonna be leaving the table though. I do not feel like playing heads up, especially at 1K. Too much variance for my mental health. Alright, just gonna be wrapping up the video here in a sec. Maybe I'll do this to make it easier. Oh. Not much is happening. One big blind. I feel like I've said some good points. I feel like this is one of the better videos I've recorded. Recently, for me, I'm someone who mentally I'm just not there a lot of these days, and some days I'm just pretty on point. I feel like I should record more videos when I just feel good. The issue is I'm trying to post every day, and I'm not someone who likes to be like, I'm just gonna wait till I feel better. So even though it's kind of reality how I am, I don't like to have that mindset. If that makes sense. Like I don't like to have the mindset like, I'll do it when I feel like it, because I just feel like, okay, that's what lazy people say, and I'm not lazy, you know. But in reality, it does actually apply to me. Especially when you're dealing with poker. I mean, I recommend just sitting down and playing a lot of the time. My issue is I'm always not putting in enough volume and stuff, so I try to, yeah, I try to play and not make excuses for myself, even though those excuses have validity to them. But I don't know if that's the right word. I meant to say like they are valid, but I feel like that's the right word. I don't know. I'm yapping here, but I feel like I got some good hands to once these tables break, I'm gonna end the video, and then there's gonna be the recording portion of the video with the solver program I use, which is also in the description. I know I'm a bit of a salesman, but there's a lot of things that I think for you guys, I recommend just using the free features in them, to be honest, because they're the programs I used. I started using them. They're the programs I've used basically my entirety of playing poker for a living, because that's what I do for a living, if it wasn't obvious. Um, but yeah, I've used Wizard basically as the only solver I've used. I came into poker a little later, so I never used Pio. My computer couldn't run it. And yeah, I've used Wizard basically the entirety of it, and it's gotten a lot better. Like the one thing about Wizard I will say is, you know, it's a program that they're going to be constantly looking to upgrade and improve upon, and that's kind of what's nice about it. Is like they're constantly coming up with new features. So like, using the program, and the sooner you use it, the better it's going to be. I feel like it's just, I don't know. To be fair, I'm not someone who's used too much Pio, so I can't say. Someone's going to break it down better than me. All I know is it's been really good for me. It worked well. But yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the studying portion of the video. Alright, starting with the first hand, which is the hand I pocket jacks here. It was really hard for me to get this spot. I'm thinking of taking away my opponent's checking range here and running this hand when he has a range bet. I had to node log, I had to change the SBR in this hand and everything to make it actually run smoother. Yeah, I had to do a lot of different things. Going to call here. If you're interested for the program I use, link is in the description below, free for preflop. Yeah, so I changed the size to 43% or 23 bigs, which is what you win in game. In general, I could just node log it to half, but it's going to play very similar. I just don't want anything weird. Here on the turn, you prefer not to have the diamond. I guess it's just due to the fact that he's going to have a lot of these, like, oh shit, Jack 10s and stuff like this. Jack 10 and King Jack, I'm sure, is only barreling through when you have the flush draw. Oh wait, let me look at him. So you're just blocking a lot of hands that are bluffing. Ace Jack's not the most relevant because Ace Jack actually has showdown, but I'm saying generally hands like this, you're blocking these types of hands. Pure with the diamond, so you'd rather have him have more bluffs. But by the time you get to the river, when you call, let me see now. What was it again? Oh, it's the 10 of clubs. By the time you get to the river, a lot of these types of hands are going to be starting to give up. I mean, obviously you need to have enough bluffs here, and you're supposed to have a lot of value. So you actually, this is one of the spots where you do bluff these flush draws like half the time. So I guess it is in your bluffing range. Ace Jack's a pure non-bluff on the river. King Jack's a pure give up. So let's see, by the time we go all in here, on the river, oh, it still prefers calling without the diamond. I guess it's for the reason I mentioned earlier. So generally, not having the diamond is a good unblocker, but I guess just due to the nature of the spot, he runs out of bluffs with these other hands because he's not supposed to be bluffing these hands like Ace King on the river. I mean, here he is, but you see how little of his range it takes up. This is like 10% of the time of a hand he has not that often. In general, his bluffs are going to be these Ace King hands. And yeah. I guess because he's jamming these two combos of hands, it's just enough. The diamond just becomes less good. I guess it's true. He probably has more bluffs with this jack than he does with this. Like, he has these decent frequently, but this is like the only bluff with the jack of spades and the jack of hearts. I would say in general, though, people don't follow through with these types of hands. They stick to the rule of not bluffing with the flush draw. So in most nodes, you're going to find you want to have that blocker by the river. I was wrong in this particular case. But yeah. As you can see in general, though, like, you're going to be calling these hands pretty often. And the main idea is just to make sure you flick it in. And yeah. I mean, you can see here, actually, like, the thing is, your opponent actually is supposed to have a good amount of give-ups here. Like, look at this. This is just all value. This is assuming he's going thin with Queen 10. This is assuming he's got aces and kings. His only bluffs are Ace Jack, King Jack with the other suits, which is interesting that you still prefer to have the others. I guess the math just adds up that way. King Jack off, which I don't know if he has. So, like, yeah, and then some Ace 5, Ace 4. So I guess it's a decent amount of bluffs, but still, it's like a lot of value, right? And this is not taking the Ace Kings. So you could say, like, oh, these are a lot of bluffs, but if he's following through with a bunch of his Ace King, it's really easy for him to be overfolding. And a hand like Jacks here, if you look at the equity, you can see it's 2% equity more. It's only supposed to win 27% of the time, and the call is still making 5 big blinds because of the price you're getting. Anyway, on to the next one. Alright, on to the next hand, which is the hand where my opponent shoved 10-9. I will add a couple things. For example, you're not supposed to have ace-queen here ever 200 big blinds deep. It's just not a 3-bet, I guess. Maybe I ran the note wrong, but I added it pure to my range because that's how I'm playing in game. Now I know, but just for the sake of the hand and my thoughts, we can take some stuff away from this. I also, when you don't have ace-queen, it actually just likes only playing b20 with your entire range here. But yeah, I included a half pot size. I think I want to simplify to half pot with range. There's a couple of things because that's what I'm playing in game. But there are a couple now I won't be, so I might be wasting your guys' time. But we'll half pot this one. Calling. 8 of clubs on the turn. Let's go back here for a sec. I want to take a note of. Sorry, it takes a sec to load when you're doing the custom sizings. I'm barreling the most when you have the ace that isn't the backdoor, due to how often your opponent's gonna have to call these worse ace-x hands. What's a good example of them? I guess it's due to just charging the hands that have these flush draws. I mean, I guess all the other ones don't, but I guess you gain the most EV by folding these hands out than you do comparatively from checking. When you unblock the backdoor flush draw, you can actually keep more hands in that you don't mind. I guess that's the idea, and it's also on later streets when they have a hand like ace jack and the flush draw gets there. Yeah. Anyway, onto the turn. Here you can see there's not too much overbetting going on here, and you're gonna be barreling a lot when you have the queen of clubs or the ace of clubs. And the other note is a little more. Ace of heart, queen of clubs was like the best combo. Now that I changed the note a little bit, it changes a bit. But having the non-block door and backdoor blocker and the flush draw blocker is just the nuts. And here in game, my opponent lost a lot of EV for going all in. A shit ton actually. Doesn't mind the min click raise. It just doesn't like all in as a strategy. Apparently, it's too easy to play verse due to how often we just have to call. Like if you look at the types of hands we have to call here, I'm mixed folding these. I mean, the key is like, yeah, you just don't want the ace of clubs, obviously, for obvious reasons. Aces, but like, if these start calling pure, like you're already losing 6 big blinds, and like, look, you would consider this, and you would be like, oh, these guys are over folding, right? In the sense of just he's folding ace king. I got him off aces. I got him off ace king sometimes. I got him off. This is gonna be queen 10 of clubs. I got him off these hands, but in reality, like it's losing 6 big blinds, and this is assuming I'm folding everything. This is assuming I'm folding ace king with a club sometimes. This is assuming I'm folding. What's another hand that's probably good? I guess I just don't have king queen too often. To be fair, like when I'm betting, I'm saying I'm either bluffing or I have my value hands are not folding too often. If you look at like summary filters, maybe let's go to. So you see, it only starts mixing with one pair. Obviously, 2 pairs never folding. So yeah. My value range here, which is just gonna be hands like the second pair is not a value bet. It's like a merge. Our hands like this. This is my merge, and this is mostly calling. So you're getting me off bluffs, but the issue is when you have like a hand like 10-9, it benefits more from calling. As you can see, it's definitely a call. It doesn't even mind raising due to the amount of like, I guess you can charge your opponents. I'm curious for the sake of just, if he raises and I rip, my hand's supposed to, yeah, with the queen of clubs, yeah, my like great combo. Gonna be raising sometimes. Yeah, it's obviously a pure fold then. But yeah, you give me off a lot of stuff when you raise. Anyway, this might be the last end of the video. If there's not, stay tuned. There might be one more after this.